How many of you had the same mother and father that I did when I grew up that would not allow you to leave the dining room table until you cleaned your plate? We apply that mentality of clear your plate or clean your plate to all types of areas of our life. One of the ones that kind of hurts us is when we do it to our finances. At the end of the day, no matter what, we are naturally going to spend every single thing that's in our account at the end of the month or at the end of the week when we know that next paycheck is coming up. It's, call it the conditioning from when we were children, call it we want to reward ourselves, whatever it is, we mentally always think or consider and look towards the bright side and saying that next check is always going to come in. And when we look at something, we might say, oh, there's only $50 left, or there's $100 left after that, those couple of 2 weeks or a week or however you get paid. And, we're getting another check so we can go and spend. I'll save on the next one. What happens is you wake up a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when you're 65, and you realize that you've essentially been cleaning your plate week over week for the last 30 years. And what that means is what you haven't been doing is taking a little bit of that leftovers, if you will, a lot of analogies this morning. You haven't been taking over those leftovers and putting them where you should be putting them, which is in the IRA or the 401k or some other kind of savings vehicle. When you're in fitness, what they teach you is you're always going to continue to clean your plate. But what they'll teach you is they'll say what you need is not necessarily to stop cleaning your plate. What you need is a smaller plate. And we're going to apply that principle to our finances. And the reason why they say you need to have a smaller plate is because they know when you head over to the buffet of whatever dinner is that night or lunch, that you're likely to fill your plate with as much food as possible to fill that thing all the way to its edges. It's a lot harder to take small portion sizes when you have this gigantic plate than it is if you have this little plate. You'll tend to take smaller portion sizes, and I guess that's been proven somewhere. I don't know, I'm not a fitness person. So we want to use that same exact principle for our finances. And what I mean by that is we want to shrink the amount of money that's available to us to spend on things outside investment or outside of our direct necessities. Corporations will do this a lot. It's also called paying yourself first, and we're going to do a video later today on it. The idea is that you want to pay yourself first out of your check. That ensures your investing is already taken out of it. Then you use the remainder of that money to then go pay the electric bill, the cable bill, the water bill, and so forth. Let's do the math typically, and then we'll reverse it. The normal family or individual will get that check, let's call it $3,000 every 2 weeks. And you'll pay the mortgage, and you'll pay the car note, and you'll pay your insurance, and then you'll set aside some money from groceries perhaps. You'll pay the electric bill, the utilities, the cable, the cell phone. Maybe you set some aside for entertainment. And you'll go out and you'll spend all this money, and you'll come down to the end and you'll realize, oh, you know what? I get an extra $100. Let me go splurge, and I'll buy that newest gadget or a new outfit, or maybe I'll get my nails done or something. Whatever it is, whatever your vice is, you'll tend to take that money and you'll drain that account all the way down to zero. What you noticed in that calculation is there was no calculation for take this money and at a minimum max out your 401k or IRA if you have one through your employer. But in the best case scenario, also put some money away for your rainy day fund, also put some money away for maybe a side investment or a side business to, maybe push you into a different financial class or into, allowing you to achieve FIRE and retire early. So what we'd like you to do is reverse that. And this is kind of a principle of the rich are becoming wealthy and moving from nothing to something over a certain period of time, is to always pay yourself first, then spend what's left over. So in the same calculation, you should be taking that $3,000 that you receive, and right off the top, you should be taking, the rule of thumb is about 10% and putting into your investment vehicle. So off of the $3,000, you're going to immediately take the $300 and put it into an IRA or 401k or whatever your investment vehicle is for your long-term retirement plans. Then remember, you can't touch that retirement. It's very hard to withdraw from an IRA. It's designed that way. So If you spend all your money from that point, you have no rainy day fund. So when something happens, and something is going to happen, you're going to lose your job, your partner or spouse is going to lose their job, the kids are going to need something extra, some kind of accident, something's going to happen. Recessions come and they go. About every 10 years, the economy is going to speed up, it's going to slow down, it's going to speed up, it's going to slow down. Regardless of the politicians, what they tell you, this is just a simple condition of the economy. It's not necessarily who's in office, okay? So you're not prepared for that if you simply taken out the 10% and put it into your IRA or 401k. So what you also need to do is take 10% of that check, of what's left, and also submit that into a rainy day fund. Now, so right now you've already saved 20% of that check. You're going to take $300, you're going to put into your IRA or 401k, and you're going to take $300 and you're going to put that into a rainy day fund. Now, if you've done the math there, if you're taking home $3,000 and you're only saving 10%, it's going to take you 10 weeks for you to save up a rainy day fund just to replace your check for one time. Good financial planners will always tell you that you want about 6 months or so of backup funds. That's a lot of weeks that you need to be saving that 10% just to save up the 6% bare minimum that most financial experts will tell you that you need to have saved or set aside, especially if you're living in a situation where you're paycheck to paycheck. So then, once you've taken the $3,000, you reduce your IRA by your $300, your 401k by $300, or increased or reduced your check to put the money there. Then you take the $300 and you put it into your rainy day fund. You're taking $600 out of that. Now you have $2,400. For that $2,400, now I want you to go spend every single penny of that. And you're perfectly allowed to go do so. So go ahead and pay your rent, pay your electricity, pay your cable bill, pay your cell phone, pay your nails, whatever it is you want to do, you can drain all the way down to zero. If you're saying to yourself, wait a minute, but if I take out 10%, I put it to my IRA and a 401k, and I take out 10% and I put it to a rainy day fund, that $2,400 is not going to allow me to live the life that I'm living right now. Like, I'm not going to be able to pay the mortgage and the rent and the cable and the Netflix, my cell phone, and all those types of things with $2,400. I need that $600 to fulfill the wants that I have in my lifestyle. Well, if that's the case, the point is to not then go and dip into that, because you yourself are a bill. The point is to go raise additional capital. And that's the idea, folks. If you take all your funds and you pay yourself first, and you get down to the end and you don't have enough, you need to reduce or change your lifestyle. Not paying yourself or saving for retirement is not an option. Not planning for a retirement for a rainy day is not an option. That is something you must or have to do. Routine. It's not an option. It's just like your rent. It's just like your cable. If you can't afford your car payment on the $2,400, get a different car. Get a roommate for that house if you can't afford the $2,400 mortgage. You're not getting your nails done. Skip the cell phone service. Whatever it is, take up a side hustle. There's all kinds of ways that you can purchase things from Marshalls, TJ Maxx, all of those. Flip them on eBay. There's ways that you can accumulate a couple $100 extra a week, week over week, pretty easily if you're willing to put in the work. But the thing you absolutely cannot do is to not pay yourself. And the reason why is that mentality of, oh, well, I just need to have a little bit extra to pay for the next thing. What'll happen is you'll get a little bit of raise, and because you're not in the habit of making yourself or making your investments automatic, you'll end up just spending that amount. I remember personally when I just got out of college, I made $44,000 a year, and I thought that was the most money in the world. Then a few years later, that wasn't enough, and then I made $65,000 a year, and then I went to $95,000 a year, and then I went to $120 and to $150 and so forth. And all those times until I shifted the mind to pay myself automatically, did I really start to understand and be able to accumulate wealth. If you do not pay yourself, you will end up 50, 55, 65 without a single dime to your name. And what's going to happen? You'll be forced to live off of Social Security, which is probably not going to be there if you're anywhere in the 20s and 30s, or you're going to live a lot crummier of a lifestyle later on. It's better to reduce your lifestyle a little bit right now to allow those investments to accumulate and compound interest over time so that you can retire early, 40, 55, 65, whatever it is, later on down the road. For more information, subscribe to this channel. We have lots of content on our YouTube. We also post things on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, wherever you like to follow on social media. As a supplement to this, we do have a course, the 13th grade financial literacy course, where we take you through the entire steps of moving from nothing to something and discuss the principles the wealthy use basically to become successful and to become rich. In America, 80% of those that become millionaires are first generation. That means they were not born into it and it was not given to them. They did not win it. They earned it over an extended period of time. We discuss those principles. If you're interested, come check us out.